So can we be as fast as Sonic? I mean, it sounds like pure childhood fantasy, right? But when you strip away the nostalgia and actually look at the hard data, it becomes one of the most fascinating scientific thought experiments out there. We're constantly surrounded by pop culture icons that literally break the laws of physics every single day. But this specific blue blur, he forces us to look in the mirror and ask a genuinely terrifying question about our own physical limitations. Let's look at the hard data and see exactly what happens when superhuman speed collides with fragile human reality. Are human bodies biologically capable of surviving the true speed of pop culture's fastest mascot? To get the real answer to this, we can't just rely on one set of rules. We actually have to reconcile three wildly conflicting realities: how speed is programmed into games, the completely unforgiving laws of real-world biology, and the universe-breaking power of the character's canonical lore. If we really want to know if a human could ever achieve this, we have to look at all the data. All right, first up, the pixel reality, where we deconstruct the myth using actual game mechanics. Now, there's a massive kind of hilarious mathematical irony hidden in these classic games. If we calculate the character's height at about 1.1 meters, we can measure the exact scale of the game world. In the original Green Hill Zone, a perfect, flawless speed run means he's traveling at about 10 meters per second. But over in World 1-1, his pudgy, overall-wearing rival is crossing 98.1 meters in just 5 seconds. That means Unsuper Wario is mathematically running at nearly 20 meters per second. So yeah, in their respective first games, the mascot literally known for speed is actually only half as fast as a plumber. Crazy, right? And this brilliantly illustrates the whole illusion of pixel speed. Even if we look at newer games with an actual speed meter like Sonic Unleashed, and we track him sprinting down the length of a New York-style city block at his absolute maximum velocity, he clocks in at roughly 80 meters per second. Now sure, that's way faster than Usain Bolt's world record of 12.4 meters per second, but it's still less than a quarter of the actual speed of sound, which sits at a whopping 343 meters per second. The reality is, standard game mechanics just cannot handle true supersonic travel. So the crucial takeaway here is that within the bounds of game code, the title of fastest is incredibly relative. In fact, if we analyze a foot race from the classic games, the 282-pound Dr. Eggman is technically the fastest accelerating character on the entire screen. Seriously, he routinely sprints away from danger going 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 0.75 seconds. Just to put that into perspective, that is an acceleration over 3 times faster than a Bugatti Veyron Super Sport. On foot. Moving on to reality number 2, the biological reality and the terrifying physics of Mach 1. What actually happens to a physical body when it hits the speed of sound? If we look strictly at the raw biological data, the gap is absolutely astronomical. To even begin matching his minimum stated lore speed, a biological organism has to cross the threshold of 1,235 kilometers per hour. Think about that. A walking human clocks in at 5 kilometers per hour. Usain Bolt, pushing the absolute peak of human biomechanics and perfect muscle composition, hit 44 kilometers per hour. The baseline speed of sound is an astonishing 28 times faster than the greatest physical achievement in human history. Now, let's say a human magically gained the muscle strength to actually run that fast. Well, their interconnected biology would immediately betray them. Every single footfall at Mach 1 would generate forces that shatter the femur, dislocate knees, and compress the spine into absolute dust. Plus, at 1,235 kilometers per hour, the air doesn't feel like a breeze anymore. It behaves more like a solid object, literally tearing away tissue. And if you tried to make a sharp turn, forget about it. The centripetal force alone would instantly destroy your internal organs because they just keep moving forward even as your skeleton changed direction. But you know what? The sheer thermal terror of that velocity might actually kill you first. When an object moves through the air at supersonic speeds, the friction creates immense heat. Without specialized protection, the surface temperature generated by this friction can reach upwards of 1,500 degrees Celsius. That perfectly matches the extreme temperatures that orbital spacecraft experience when they re-enter the Earth's atmosphere. A biological human would, quite literally, burn away in an instant. And even if you somehow had indestructible bones and were completely immune to heat, you'd still hit the ultimate biological bottleneck: your own brain. The average human visual reaction time is about 250 milliseconds. At Mach 1, in the quarter of a second it takes your brain to simply register that there's a wall in front of you, your body has already traveled 86 meters. You'd be gone before your conscious mind even realized you had crashed. Which brings us to our third reality, the cosmic reality and the concept of infinite lore speed. This is where we look beyond the basic games and step into the unhinged power scaling of the deep lore. Because
If we look at the extended canon and official statements from the writers, breaking the sound barrier is absolute child's play. We see this wild progression of sheer absurdity. In Sonic CD, time travel is achieved purely through raw physical speed. In Sonic Generations, characters casually move through white space, which is a realm completely devoid of time and space. And in Sonic Forces, they somehow escape null space, a sealed-off world of absolute nothingness. These feats don't just bend standard thermodynamics and physics, they completely ignore them.
In this context, we actually have to completely redefine what speed even means. Analysts often use the term irrelevant speed. This is a level of velocity so immeasurable that distance and time are simply no longer factors. When a character can casually sprint through realms where the concept of a dimension doesn't even exist, they stop being a fast biological animal. They basically become a cosmic entity capable of transcending reality itself. To really grasp just how far beyond humanity this goes, take a look at this quote from series writer Ian Flynn regarding the entity Solaris. He notes that Solaris was quite literally tearing down the concept of space-time itself. Anything that could be rationalized was on the menu. And yet, Supersonic is able to keep pace with and ultimately defeat superdimensional beings of this exact magnitude. The biological limits of a human being are just a joke compared to an entity that outruns the collapse of time. Finally, let's wrap this up in Section 4, A Candle to a Star, Synthesizing the Data. We've explored the pixel illusions, the biological nightmares, and the cosmic lore. It's time to bring all this data together for a serious conclusion.
Let's look at everything side by side. On the human biology side, we are strictly bound by the fragile chemical reactions of ATP in our muscles, the absolute tensile strength of calcium bones, and a hard-capped 250 millisecond neurological reaction time. But on the other side, the physics required to actually be this fast means actively overriding thermodynamics, completely ignoring the physical resistance of the atmosphere, and transcending the very concepts of space and time. These two realities are fundamentally, categorically incompatible.
So can we be as fast as Sonic? The data gives us a harsh but definitive answer. Absolutely not. No biological human could ever survive, let alone achieve, this level of velocity. The character's existence requires an entirely different set of physical laws to govern the universe. To put it simply, the gap between the fastest human ever born and this blue blur isn't like comparing a bicycle to a race car. It's like comparing a flickering candle to a burning star. But that leaves us with one incredibly provocative final thought. If our fragile chemistry and bones can never cross this threshold naturally, could future technology, like advanced exoskeletons, artificial nervous systems, or frictionless energy shields, ever withstand what our biology cannot? Or are there some cosmic speeds that are simply meant to remain forever fictional? It's definitely something to think about the next time you hold down the sprint button.